I waited for a day Shen wouldn't come. He had a routine, strict, predictable, and after living in that small apartment long enough, I learned the hours when he disappeared into his world and left me alone in mine. Those were the only moments I could breathe without feeling his shadow behind me. I didn't bring anything with me, not his letter, not a note, nothing that could betray where I was going. Shen noticed everything. He always did. When I reached the brothel, the lanterns were already glowing along the wooden walls, the scent of jasmine and old lacquered floors wrapped around me, the scent of the only home I had ever known. Henry was waiting in the small tea room. He stood when I entered. He looked exactly as he had the night of Shen's engagement party. Tall and lean, mid-20s, fair skin, light blue eyes that softened when they met mine. His light brown hair was neatly side-parted, and he wore a light linen 1920s suit that made him look gentle, almost out of place in a house like this. I felt small in front of him, a girl in a simple mid-sleeve cotton dress, pale blue and slightly worn, the kind of dress poor girls wore because it was all they had. My long, wavy, dark brown hair fell loosely over my shoulders, unstyled, the way it always did. "I'm glad you came," he said softly. I didn't know how to answer. My voice felt trapped somewhere deep inside me. He stepped closer, careful, respectful, nothing like the men I grew up around. "I'm leaving Saigon in a few days," he said, "and I wanted to see you before I go." My heart tightened. Kindness always hurt more than cruelty. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out a ship ticket. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "But if you want a different life, if you want to leave all this behind, I'll be waiting for you at the port." He placed the ticket in my hand. His fingers didn't linger. He didn't try to touch me. He didn't try to claim me. He just looked at me, really looked, as if I were someone worth choosing. "Think about it," he whispered. I nodded because I couldn't speak. I had never been offered a choice before. When I left the brothel, the ticket felt like a secret that could destroy everything. And when I opened the apartment door and saw Shen sitting in the dark, smoking, waiting, I knew the choice would break someone, maybe even me. He didn't move when I stepped inside. The ember of his cigarette glowed faintly, lighting the sharp line of his jaw, the straight, strong brows, the pale gold skin that always looked carved from something colder than flesh. Smoke curled around him like a warning. He watched me the way a hunter watches a trembling animal, silent, patient, knowing it has nowhere to run. I swallowed hard. My dress clung to my skin from the humidity, and the ticket pressed against my chest like a heartbeat that wasn't mine. I prayed he couldn't see it. I prayed he couldn't hear it. "Where were you?" he asked. His voice was low, calm, too calm. That was always worse than anger. I forced myself to breathe. "I went to visit the brothel," I said. The lie slid out of me like a blade, sharp, dangerous, necessary. He took a slow drag from his cigarette, the ember flaring red. For a moment, I thought he would stand and tear the truth out of me, but instead, he exhaled softly and rose from the chair. He walked toward me with that elegant, controlled posture only noblemen have, the tailored cream linen suit catching the faint moonlight from the window. When he reached me, he lifted his hand and touched my cheek with the back of his fingers. Not rough, not tender, something in between. Something that said you belong to me even if he never said the words aloud. Then he leaned in and kissed me. A soft kiss, a distracted kiss. A kiss that told me his mind was somewhere else entirely. "I guess you're bored here alone," he murmured. That was when I understood. That was why he didn't question me further. He thought I was restless, lonely, missing the noise of the brothel, not hiding a secret that could destroy everything. He kissed my forehead, then stepped back. "I'll take you somewhere tomorrow," he said quietly. And then he left. The moment the door closed, I finally breathed. My knees felt weak. My chest ached from holding the lie inside me. I reached into my dress and pulled out the ticket. It was crumpled from the heat of my skin and the fear in my body, but still readable. I smoothed it carefully and folded it neatly, the way Henry had handed it to me. Then I hid it where I kept his letter, tucked between the few clothes I owned. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the closed door. I loved Shen, but I feared him more. And tomorrow, I didn't know which version of him I would face. I woke early the next morning. I don't know why. Maybe because I hadn't slept well, or maybe because some part of me knew Shen would come. I sat on the edge of the bed, smoothing the pale dress he had bought for me days earlier. It was modest, soft, and beautiful in a quiet way. The kind of dress I never would have owned if not for him. When Shen arrived, he didn't say much. He simply looked at me, really looked, as if checking whether the dress fit the way he imagined. His almond-shaped dark brown eyes softened for a moment, and he nodded. "Come," he said. He took me to a private restaurant hidden above the busy Saigon street. I had never been anywhere like it. Lanterns hung from the beams, swaying gently in the warm breeze. Potted plants lined the balcony railings. Below us, the city moved like a river, rickshaws, vendors, children running, the hum of life I had never touched. Shen stood beside me on the balcony, wearing his tailored cream linen suit. He looked like he belonged there, elegant, composed, untouchable. But for once, he let me stand close enough that our shoulders brushed. Someone downstairs must have seen us, a photographer maybe, or a curious passerby, because a camera flashed. I startled, but Shen didn't. He simply turned, walked down the stairs, and returned minutes later with a small envelope. He had bought the photograph. He didn't want anyone else to have a picture of me. When he handed it to me, he didn't explain. He didn't need to. For a moment, just one, I felt like I belonged to him. Not because he demanded it, not because he controlled me, but because he let himself be soft in a way he rarely allowed. We ate together in the quiet room behind the balcony. He poured tea for me. He asked if I liked the dress. He watched me more than he watched the street. It felt like a date, a real one, the only one we ever had. When Shen walked me home from the restaurant, the softness he'd shown on the balcony clung to him like the last light of evening. But as we reached the apartment, something in him shifted. His steps slowed, his jaw tightened, his silence grew heavier. Inside, he closed the door behind us and stood still for a long moment, just looking at me in the dress he had chosen, the dress he bought, the dress he wanted to see me in. He reached for me then, not with hunger, not with possession, but with a quiet ache I had never seen in him before. His fingers brushed my cheek, then slid gently behind my neck as he pulled me close. He kissed me softly, slowly, as if he were memorizing the shape of my lips. There was no urgency in him, no demand, just a tenderness that frightened me more than his anger ever had. He guided me to the bed with a tenderness I wasn't used to, his hands steady, his breath warm against my cheek. He held me close, his forehead resting lightly against mine, as if he needed the closeness as much as I did. His touch stayed gentle, almost hesitant, as though he feared I might slip away if he held me too tightly. Later, when we lay together in the quiet afterward, his arm wrapped around my waist, my back pressed against his chest. That was when he finally spoke. "My wedding is in 2 days." The words didn't strike like lightning. They seeped into me slowly, painfully, like something sharp pressing deeper with every breath. 2 days. I stared at the wall, unable to move, unable to breathe. And then Henry's voice echoed in my mind. I'm leaving Saigon in a few days. I realized it was the same day. Shen's hand tightened slightly on my waist, as if he felt the shift inside me. I wanted to give you something before... His voice trembled, just once. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. I understood. This day, the dress, the balcony, the photograph he bought so no one else would have it. This was his gift, his apology, his goodbye. He pulled me closer, burying his face in my hair, and for the first time, I felt him tremble. He was giving me a memory, one perfect moment, because he knew he could never give me a future. And I lay there in his arms, loving him and fearing him, knowing that in 2 days, both men who wanted me would be gone. One to a wife, one to a ship, and I would have to choose which goodbye I could survive. I woke to silence. The space beside me on the bed was already cold, the sheets smoothed out the way Shen always left it when he didn't want me to know how early he had gone. The lantern had burned low during the night, leaving the room washed in pale morning light that made everything look smaller, emptier. My body still remembered the way he held me. My heart still remembered the way he trembled. But he was gone. I sat up slowly, pulling the thin blanket around my shoulders. The apartment felt different, as if the air itself knew something had ended. His scent lingered faintly, warm and familiar, but fading with every breath I took. On the small wooden table, where he always left things he didn't want to say aloud, lay the photograph from the balcony, the one he bought so no one else would have it. I picked it up with trembling fingers. In the picture, we looked like two people who belonged together. Two people who might have had a chance in another life. Two people who weren't separated by class, duty, or the cruelty of timing. But that wasn't our life. My throat tightened. My eyes burned. I pressed the photograph to my chest and let myself cry. Quietly, the way I had learned to cry in the brothel where tears were a private luxury. I loved him, but love wasn't enough. Not for a man like Shen, not for a girl like me. And the distance between us, the distance he could never close, felt wider than ever. When the tears finally slowed, I wiped my face with the back of my hand and stood. My legs felt unsteady, as if the night had taken something from me I couldn't get back. I walked to the corner where my few clothes were folded neatly, the only place in the apartment that felt like mine. I knelt and lifted the top garment, my fingers brushing the soft cotton. The ticket was there, hidden exactly where I had placed it, waiting. I hesitated before picking it up, afraid of what touching it would mean, afraid of what it would force me to admit. But my hand moved anyway. The paper felt fragile, almost weightless, but the choice it carried was heavier than anything I had ever held. I unfolded it slowly, smoothing the creases with my thumb. Henry's ship, Henry's offer, Henry's kindness, a life I could choose, a life where I wasn't a secret, where I wasn't owned, where I wasn't waiting for a man who could never be mine. But my heart was still lying in that bed with Shen. A sob escaped me before I could stop it. I clutched the ticket in one hand and the photograph in the other, the two futures pulling me in opposite directions, one to a wife, one to a ship, and I didn't know which goodbye would break me more. Shen never came back after that night. Not the next morning, not the day after. Not even to check if I was still in the apartment he kept me in. The silence told me everything his words never could. And today was the day he told me about. My wedding is in 2 days. 2 days had passed. This was the day. I stood on my small balcony in the black dress he once bought for me. the only dress I owned that didn't make me look like a poor girl from a forgotten street. The fabric felt heavier than usual, as if it carried every memory of him. Below, the street began to fill with sound. Drums, voices, laughter, the bright clang of cymbals. The wedding procession was moving down my street. Red banners swayed in the warm breeze. Lanterns bobbed above the crowd. Musicians played loudly, drowning out the sound of my heartbeat. Relatives in silk walked proudly behind the decorated rickshaws, and somewhere in that procession, Shen. I gripped the railing until my knuckles turned white. He hadn't come to see me. He hadn't sent a message. He hadn't even looked back. And that was when I knew. I could not survive loving a man who lived in a world I would never be allowed to enter. I could not survive waiting for someone who had already chosen a future without me. I could not survive being a secret any longer. My heart broke quietly, the way it always did. I stepped back inside the apartment and sat at my small wooden table. The room felt smaller than ever, as if the walls themselves were pushing me toward a decision I had been avoiding. I picked up a piece of paper. My hand trembled as I wrote him a letter. Not long, not angry, not begging, just the truth. I folded it carefully and placed it where he would find it, if he ever came back. Then I gathered my few belongings, the black dress on my body, the petticoat beneath it, the photograph he bought so no one else would have it, the ship ticket Henry gave me, and the tiny bundle of clothes I owned. As the sun began to set, I walked toward the docks. The ship loomed ahead, tall and white against the darkening sky. Passengers hurried up the gangway, voices echoing across the harbor. The smell of salt, coal, and distant rain filled the air. Henry walked beside me, not touching me, not rushing me, just staying close enough that I knew I wasn't alone. When we reached the deck, he stepped aside to give me space, letting me take in the view of Saigon one last time. I gripped the railing, my heart pounding, and then I saw it. A black car parked at the far edge of the dock. Shen's car. Even from this distance, I recognized the shape of it. The polished body, the familiar silhouette, the way it always seemed to appear like a shadow he controlled. My breath caught. The car didn't move. The door didn't open. No one stepped out. It just sat there, facing the ship, as if watching, as if waiting. Henry followed my gaze, his expression softening when he realized who I was looking at. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. I clutched the ticket in my hand, the paper warm from my skin. This was the day Shen married someone else. This was the day he left me behind. This was the day I chose my own future. Not because I didn't love him, but because I finally understood. Love wasn't enough if it left me alone. The ship's horn sounded, deep, mournful, final. Henry stepped closer, not touching me, but offering the steadiness I no longer had. I took one last look at the black car at the edge of the dock. If Shen was inside, he didn't come out. If he wanted to see me, he stayed hidden. If he cared in silence, just like always. The ship began to pull away from the harbor, and I let the distance grow.